In Australia, the Greater Brisbane area of Queensland will soon begin a 3-day lockdown after 10 new COVID cases there. 4 of them were locally transmitted. The state premier says she's very concerned because the highly transmissible UK variant was detected among these new cases. Meantime, in the UK, the situation appears to be stabilising enough for England to ease more restrictions. From Monday, up to 6 people will be allowed to meet outside, while outdoor team sports can resume for all ages. But it's a totally different story in France, where intensive care units are getting overwhelmed with COVID patients there. Doctors in Paris say the crisis is so bad, they'll soon have to decide who gets access to the ICUs and who does not. They say the growing outbreak is alarming and current measures aren't enough to slow the spread. And Chile has one of the world's highest coronavirus vaccination rates, and yet they're still facing a second wave of infections and more lockdowns. It's actually gotten so bad, Chile's president says he's going to ask Congress to postpone elections from April to May. Here's Rafael Romo with that.
Light traffic on the streets, nearly deserted sidewalks and bus stops, and empty parks. Around 16 million people, including Santiago, the Chilean capital, are under a full lockdown that started over the weekend after record numbers of new coronavirus cases.
Pidiéndoles encarecidamente.
For the love of Chile, President Piñera pleaded with his fellow citizens, let's all maximize personal precautions and follow health guidelines. The daily number of new COVID-19 cases reached 7,626 Friday, a record since the beginning of the pandemic. In the country of roughly 19 million, the total number of cases is now approaching 1 million. Enrique París, the Chilean health minister, is worried.
Alcanza al 95%.
He says intensive care units around the country are at 95% capacity, and the new spike in cases is bound to strain the national health system even more. Everything is not bad news for Chile. Well over 6 million people, or roughly a third of its population, have received at least one dose. The South American country has the third highest vaccination rate in the world after Israel and the United Arab Emirates, and is ahead of countries like the UK and the US. Rosa Anampa, a nurse who stopped by one of the many vaccination centers opened around the country to get her shot, says the problem is that many people simply lower their guards. People have been irresponsible, she said. We thought that after getting the first dose, we would all be immune, and that's simply not the case. The Chilean Health Ministry is asking people to contact police to report parties or other gatherings that are now technically illegal. For now, Santiago's metropolitan area will remain on lockdown indefinitely. Chileans are supposed to go to the polls on April 11 to choose members for an assembly that will be tasked with writing a new constitution. For the first time over the weekend, the President Piñera said the government will be paying close attention to the health emergency and didn't rule out the possibility of postponing the process if the situation doesn't improve. Rafael Romo, CNN.
Thanks to Rafael for that.